Are you in phone sales or use the phone to call on new prospects? If so, this video is for you. Hey there guys, before I dive into the details, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. So I assume you're watching this video because you're in sales and you call prospects over the phone or you are in phone sales. Well, many years ago, like 25 years ago, I worked for a huge accounting firm out in Los Angeles, and my job was to call CEOs and set up appointments for all the salespeople. And I knocked out more appointments in 2 hours than all of my colleagues did in 6 or 8 hours. And the manager came to me one day and she said, "What are you doing? How are you booking so many appointments?" Well, number one is that she had handed out this phone script that was super cheesy and super robotic, and it wasn't natural language that I or anybody would even use. So I put that aside to begin with. And I just talked to these people kind of like a natural, normal human being would. And so about 3 weeks later, she put me in charge of training the entire Los Angeles office. And some of you guys may have heard this story before. So to this day, I swear by the tactics that I did even 25 years ago over the phone, because phones haven't really, technology has changed a lot over the years, but how you call people over the phone really hasn't changed. So I'm going to share you guys some very important tips, kind of make it or break it tips on calling people over the phone in a sales situation. So number one, and this is probably the most important than anything, is not sounding like a salesperson over the phone. I get hammered with sales calls, you guys, and once you are on the receiving end of sales calls, you start to see who sounds like a salesperson, who sounds robotic, and who sounds like a natural, normal human being. I cannot tell you how important it is to just talk to people like they're your friend. It's like, "Hey, is this Bob? Hey, Bob, this is Kate. How's it going?" "Good. Yeah, well, the reason I'm calling is because," and just talk very casually with these people. They want to hear a friend on the other end of the phone, not a robotic salesperson, okay? Number two, this kind of piggybacks on that. Address all of your prospects by their first name, because that's how their friends call them. Their friends don't call them to go to lunch and say, "Hey, Mr. Smith, would you like to do lunch tomorrow?" No, they're like, "Hey, Bob, hey, Jack, hey, Susan, hey, Mary." So make sure you're addressing your prospects by their first name unless they are a doctor. People say in life, you have 7 seconds to make a good first impression. In sales, you have 2 seconds to make a good first impression, and you can make it or break it depending on if you address them like, "Hey, Patrick, hey, Susan," and they're like, you sound warm and friendly, than if you sound like a salesperson. So make sure you address them by their first name. The third thing is, so if the company you're working for is not a huge household name, then just introduce your name, but just skip the company name when you first introduce yourself to people. So for example, let's say if I was working for ABC Consulting, I would call somebody and be like, "Hey, is this Jack? Hey, Jack, my name is Kate, and I'm the one who's talking to everybody about," and I would just skip the company name. Okay, and if ABC Consulting is a huge company name and everybody recognizes that and it gives me a lot of extra credibility, then I would say, "Hey, are you Jack? Hey, Jack, my name is Kate. I'm with ABC Consulting, and I'm the one who da-da-da-da-da." Okay, so just ask yourself, if you work for a company that has a big household name, then use it. And if not, then just skip it in the approach. The next thing is that when you first approach people on the phone, don't go into your product pitch in that sales call. You should use your sales call to set up a face-to-face appointment, or try to set up maybe a video conference where it's way more personable and they can see the whites of your eyes. But a lot of salespeople, they call somebody and then 20 seconds later, they're going in and pitching their product, when the phone is not the time or the place for that. So just use the phone to set up a face-to-face appointment, or to try to set up a Zoom call if they live outside of your city, okay? But don't go into your pitch, your product details on the phone. And I actually have a free webinar of how to get your foot in the door, and I go through a lot more details on this in that webinar, and the link is below. And last but not least is that your phone approach should be very short. If it's more than 20 or 30 seconds and you're just talking, it's way too long. So I encourage you to get a timer, time yourself. At what point are you asking for an appointment? And if it's more than 20 or 30 seconds, then your phone approach is too long. So again, in my webinar, the link is below. It'll teach you what to do, what to say to keep your approach super short, super compact, and super effective, okay? So just make sure when you call people on the phone, sound like yourself, sound like someone's friend, don't sound like a salesperson at all. Address them by their first name, sound like someone's friend, and keep it super short. Okay, have fun out there, you guys. Bye.